everyone. I'm Celine Shenoy, the Director of Relationship Intelligence at Say Allo, a dating app created for the intelligent dater. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Allana Pratt, an intimacy expert, author, host, and speaker. Allana, how are you?
I'm good. And we both said we're living LA, Palm Desert, and we're both hot.
I
We're not
know,
sexy hot, but we're like hot.
I know. It's been there's been a
Toasty.
crazy heat wave, and it's just
Yeah,
uh,
but at least we don't have fires like our Northern California friends. So
I know
we
it.
blessed. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really sad, but
Since
I think
summer.
we did have some last year, so
True, true.
we had our share of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm glad we got together in this very hot week.
Yeah.
We appreciate you making the time to be here to share your expert insight into how daters can overcome some, their insecurities while
Yeah,
dating, and those insecurities, like how they keep sabotaging themselves because of that.
totally.
Yeah. So we'll get right into it. What have you found to be the most common insecurities that people generally face when they're dating online?
Yeah. Across the board is fear of rejection. There is no way you're going to date and meet the one the first time, live happily ever after, never fight, never have conflict, and then die. Like, that's not reality. And yet, on some level, people think it could be, and they don't know how to deal with, okay, I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to have to say thank you, but no thank you to another. Even once I get into a relationship, I mean, this is science. This isn't just my opinion, but life is equal pain and pleasure,
Oh yeah.
equal challenge and support. It is crazy to think some dude on a white horse or lady on a white horse is going to arrive and we'll never fight. Like, no one's taught people how to navigate conflict as a normal, healthy, everyday occurrence that occurs. And we can get through it with grace. And we can even be more intimately connected when we get through conflict, when we have a new point of view. Nobody is setting up people for the reality of life and relationships. So all of that they don't know how to handle, they get paralyzed, and they do things that they're probably not proud of. They ghost people.
Oh yeah.
They just don't know how to say I'm not interested, so they reschedule and reschedule and reschedule, right? And then once they get in the relationship after the honeymoon is over, the very first difficult conversation, swipe left, I'm moving on to the next person. So they start to treat people like commodities, and
Yeah.
they feel like a commodity, and it just makes for a really difficult time for daters.
Yeah, and I think deep down inside, we are really vulnerable. We want to know that we're loved and accepted. I think that's a common human experience, and I think dating really brings that up, don't you think?
Oh, I love what you're saying. Like, when we really exhale and slow down and listen to that small whisper in our heart. I like to say that it's little you in there. And
Hmm.
like, am I good enough? Do they see me? Do they
Yeah.
understand me? Do they get that I'm unique? Do they really see me, not just the exterior or the bank account or the accomplishments, but like my soul?
Yes.
And so this yearning to be deeply met, deeply seen, does make us very vulnerable. But I think there's a big misunderstanding, Celine, that vulnerability is somehow bad. In
Yeah.
fact, when you quote unquote do the work that I teach, that I walk my own talk to, I'm single.
Mhm.
um, Vulnerability is our greatest strength. It is when our heart is closed. On a scientific level, when our heart is closed, we turn off our prefrontal cortex. Our prefrontal cortex is where we can be creative. We can think abstractly. We can, act on our feet. We don't take things personally. We can receive constructive criticism. We're in our strong place. But when
Mhm.
our heart is closed and we go, it takes only 5 seconds to get triggered. And then we're right back in our, reptilian brain. And that's fight, flight, or freeze. It's like
Mhm.
kill them before they kill me. And we say things we're so ashamed of after, right? So
Mhm.
that's when the heart is closed. Another thing that happens when our heart is closed is it also cuts off more of like our gut, our instincts, our intuition. So we can't see red flags. We don't get that sensation of, It all sounds good on paper, but something's off here. We can't feel the something's off here. And so we get blindsided. We get taken advantage of. We get used. We get cheated on, and we don't see it coming. And then again, we beat ourselves up even more, which what does that do? Open our heart? No,
Sure.
shuts our
Yeah.
heart even more. So the
Yeah.
idea of being vulnerable and opening it is like, hell no, that's not going so well. I'm scared. But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we can do the inner work to heal the wounds in the heart, heal the emotional triggers, heal the traumas of being blindsided in the past,
Uh-huh.
and learn to keep our heart open all the way, that open heart scientifically, measurably is called coherence. And it
Okay.
creates a harmony between your heart and the best of your brain. It literally turns on your intuition and your instincts. And not only that, not only are you connected to your highest self, your
Mhm.
best brain, your best intuition, this other really magical thing happens. We connect to the field, and we can call the field the field. We can call the field God, the
Yeah.
divine, spirit. And that's when we have access to what they call non-local intuition, where the field is actually giving you information. I don't know if you've ever heard, like, I'm a mother. I know when my son is in trouble. Like, I just know, like, there's some information that gets to me,
Yeah.
or we know our child is hurt. We
Yeah.
just, how do we know that? But they've scientifically done experiments that there's this non-local intuition that connects people beyond the logical brain. And so it allows you to be even safer, even more supported, even more guided on the dating path. And it all comes back to the same place, this
Uh-huh.
intimate relationship with yourself and a healed, open heart.
Wow, I love that. That's so deep, Alana. Wow. On a Friday. So what you're essentially saying is that our insecurities block us from accessing that intuition, that innate sensory ability that we have to understand people on a deeper level.
Yeah. And we can't trust ourselves. And if you go out dating and you can't trust yourself, that's really scary.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
you can't trust another, and you have no access to sensing whether they are just talking a big game or if they really mean it. All of our other perceptions aren't online when our heart is closed and when we're operating with these triggers and wounds. And
Okay.
I call it like sprinkles on top of an ice cream cone of shit or crap. I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to swear, but we have a good attitude, and we
Yeah.
wear the push-up bra, and we have a great profile, and we do all these external things, but underneath it all, there's still insecurity,
Uh-huh.
inability to hear our truth,
Mhm.
inability to trust what we know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't set us up to be authentic when we date. We have all these walls, all this skepticism, all these fears with a fake happy face, and we wonder why it doesn't go so well.
Right, right. And I know you've already alluded to this a couple of times already, but what are some of the ways that our insecurities manifest in our behavior um, while we are dating?
Spoken from someone who did this for 2 divorces worth of dating. I'm 50, so I've had a lot of failures, and
Oh, you're 50? You look
I've learned a lot.
for 50.
Oh, well, thank you. Um, so the first one for me was like being the big old people pleaser. Like, oh, you like to go running. I hate running. I'm like, yeah, I love running, love running. Like I would lie
Yeah.
just to get approval. I would, they'd say, do you want to go do this? And I would hate it. And I'd say, sure. Right. Or I would have plans with a friend, but then
Hmm.
they'd call last minute, and I would ditch my friends and
Hmm.
very desperately needy go out with them or take a call with them. I wouldn't have healthy boundaries. These are
Hmm.
some of the ways our insecurities show up. Other
Okay.
ways our insecurities show up is that we can't stop talking, because if we stop talking, then they might say something, and then I don't know what they're going to say, and then I don't know what to do. So I'll just keep talking.
Oh yeah.
And
I've
and
met that person. It's
and
like I
deep
cannot get a word in.
and deep down inside, they're just terrified, and they don't know how to heal it, or they're unwilling to be brave enough to slow down and notice, why is
Hmm.
it that I'm never getting a second date? Who's the only one in common? Right? And what is it that I'm doing that's a blind spot that I don't even see? Because to feel the truth of, oh my God, I'm terrified to just be. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of bravery. That takes a lot of humility. And then to ask for help on top of that, I mean, that's an awakened being, if you ask me, that's willing to be that clear and brave and do the work.
Right. Right. And something else I've noticed is a lot of, a lot of, I see guys doing this more. They ask you, what type of person are you looking for? And then they sort of try to mold their behavior to meet those whatever qualities you listed. And I feel that for me, that is a sign of insecurity because why do you need to know? Isn't just being yourself enough? Like, why do
Thank
you know?
you. Well, when our worth is determined by the outside in, do you like me? Do you approve of me? Do you agree with me? Do you see me? When it's all outside in, we will totally pretzel ourselves into somebody that we're not, because we really think our source of safety and approval is what the other person thinks. And
Yeah.
that's totally how I was as well.
Yeah.
I pretzeled myself into whoever my first husband and second husband wanted me to be.
Yes.
Actually, I evolved a little bit with the second husband. The first husband, I was very much damsel in distress, insecure, pretzeled myself into anything he said
Mhm.
just so that he wouldn't leave me. I was just insecure and scared. Second husband, I thought I grew, and I guess in some degree I did, more confident, but I really had this masculine energy, this like, well, marriage isn't Disneyland, so this is how it's going to be, and I was in control, and no, 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 and I was really kind of harsh, but
Mhm.
but that was just the other side of the same coin. It was just a mask on the other side, pretending I had it all together rather
Mhm.
than being so desperate. But I hadn't really grown at all. I hadn't really sat in the fire and done the deep work to heal from my dad being drunk or stoned growing up when I was a little girl and never being present, my mom dying of cancer. I
Mhm.
hadn't healed or done the work from the first divorce. Like I hadn't done any work. I just was desperate, lonely, seeking approval, thinking everything was the outside in. And then I'd
Mhm.
finally be enough. But here's the key that I think will solve all of these insecurity problems is that we need to rewire ourselves from the inside out. No longer look to accomplishments and approval and achievements on the outside from another person, but also not have our confidence be our bank account or the size of our butt or any of these other things. Any of that external stuff to be good enough
Yeah,
sets you up to fail.
but Alana, isn't that how the world judges people? Most people?
I would say the majority of the world is asleep and insecure and terrified. You're right. You're right. And so you can go along and have a whole life of fear, buy into the program that you got to keep up with the Joneses and go into a bunch of credit card debt to look good and do it right and shine people on and never fully rest and then die. You can do that if you want. But the people in my world are like, screw that. It's exhausting, it's terrifying, and it's
Yeah.
not working. And I
Mhm.
still ache for this deep, intimate, soul shaking communion with another. So the only one in common is me. I'm not finding a solution out there in society. And
Mhm.
society's honestly, I believe, set up to keep us afraid so they can control us. If we're all confident in ourselves, we can't be controlled. So
Mhm.
I'm here to help people take their power back and rewire themselves from the inside out. Now I'm a very driven woman. I've accomplished a lot. I'm a cum laude grad of an Ivy League school. Like I work out, I do all this stuff. And yet
Yeah.
I do it as a choice because it brings me joy, not emptiness. That I need this in order to be enough. And once I get it, I've got to keep it or make it better. I'm not going to live like that anymore.
Yeah. You're coming from a place of abundance, for lack of a better word, rather than lack.
Good. Yeah. And abundance on the inside out, which, funny enough, scientifically, the inside always creates the outside. So as
Yes.
soon as you stop, find the one, and you become the one to find the one.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
is what my intimacy programs teach. Become the one to find the one. As soon as you let go of all that scampering and grasping, and you start to develop your self-worth on the inside, and you start to go, yes, my worth and my accomplishments are not collapsed. They're two separate things. I can
Right.
still accomplish and achieve and do all these things, but I'm not going to kid myself that I'm somehow holier than thou and superior and you're inferior if I have this and you don't. My worth is over here. My worth is inherent.
Right.
I always was, is, and will be equally worthy because I'm a child of the universe. And I choose to love myself unconditionally, no matter what happens on the outside. And that gives you a confidence that nobody can take away when you're dating. I mean, I still prefer, obviously, not to be ghosted or told I'm a loser. Okay. I prefer
Yeah,
that. But I don't lose my crap if it happens.
yes, but what would you say to those singles who just had a really bad spell? They have been rejected repeatedly. They're
Yeah,
getting very few matches, and they're just beginning to question their worth. Like, am I good enough? Like, do I not? There
oh,
are people out there who go through those bad spells and they go into despair.
for sure.
What
They
would
can,
you say to them? Like, what
well,
can they do?
I get it. I get it. And many of the people that have come into my intimacy coaching programs have literally said, enough, I give up on love. But they had this one little morsel, like 1% left of like, but if you can help me, I really want love. But I realize everything I've been doing is not working. So it's sort of like the analogy, if you have 4 hours to cut down a tree and your
Mhm,
saw is not sharp, i.e. if you want to date and meet the one but you've had a period of rejection and you're doubting your worth, don't keep going out there and trying to cut the tree down with a saw that's not even sharp. It's not going to work. You're going to exhaust yourself, right?
mhm,
So spend 3.5 hours of your 4 hours sharpening the saw, and then in 30 minutes knock that shit out, get her done, like find the one. So what that looks like in terms of relationship is, okay, I'm going to take a sabbatical. I'm going to put my dating profiles on hold for 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. And I'm going to step back and sharpen the saw. I'm going to step back and do all of the internal work to forgive myself, forgive others, to heal my heart, to scientifically integrate, process, heal those wounds of shame and
mhm,
self-criticism and anger. How dare, like all that stuff is stuck energetically inside of us, and it is literally measured as a vibration. So
mhm.
if we've been betrayed a lot of times, our vibration is very low, and we can only attract, like energy attracts like energy.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you are pretending you're all confident but inside you're still on the verge of feeling devastated and giving up on love, I'm sorry, but you're going to attract some losers who use you.
And they sense it, don't they? They just sense it.
You attract narcissists who use you,
Yes,
say
yes.
the right thing, and that wounded part of you is like, oh my God, on week 1, they want to marry me. I know they're, I'm like, no, that's called somebody who's using you,
Yeah,
right? Because they're so desperate.
predators, they're out
Yeah.
there.
Tons of them are out there. Trolls are out there. People that just want to use your body and I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have to do the inner work to raise our confidence, raise
right.
our vibration. And then when those kind of people say all of that stuff, you're like, red flag. It's
Red
very
flag.
lovely what you're saying, but that's way too much, way too soon. And,
Yes.
and you have confidence, but you can't teach that out of a book. You can read all the books you want, but the inner work,
You
you
have
need
to do the inner
to do
work,
the
yes.
inner work to actually be the embodiment of confidence, not just the fakey fake, on the outside confidence. Because yeah, you'll still be taken advantage of and the results will prove it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think the movies and just the media in general, society in general, one somehow makes people believe that another person can rescue them. We have that in romantic movies, the knight in shining armor will
Yeah.
come, everything will be okay. So I think it's this kind of mindset that leads people to believe that someone else can heal them when really they have to do the inner work. So what kind of mindset do you recommend that singles take on so that they can be more confident and sound more confident? Do you
Yeah.
recommend any rituals or practices that they can do?
Yeah. I'm very particular with words. So I just want to be clear. I don't believe in mindset. I
Okay.
think mindset is sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of crap. I really do. Because
Okay.
the wound is still in there.
Go deeper.
It's a heart set shift that
Oh, I
creates
love that.
a shift. There is literally scientifically measured when you've healed your heart and you're coherent, a harmony happens, as I said, with the best part of your brain. And your brain is literally vibrating at higher natural thoughts, not I'm good enough. I really am. I know I'm good enough. Like, it's not going to work. We know it's not going to work. 10 more affirmations, staring at your damn vision board every day. Not that those aren't helpful, but we all know those don't work. It takes more. And so the real shift is doing the inner heart set work so that you can come to terms with all of those negative things that happen. And here's the shift in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They happened for you. They sucked. They hurt. I get that. But they happened for you. Imagine like a piece of coal that turns into a diamond. It happens through pressure. So it happened for you to get out of, to turn into a diamond. Or like the mushy caterpillar in the cocoon. It's like not fun in there. You've got to work to get out. You've got to do the work. And then one day you fly. But if someone cuts you out and saves you because you complete me, right? We all know the butterfly dies. And we are no different. So the work to do is to let go of thinking mindset's going to save you. It might give you temporary relief, and maybe it'll shine somebody on enough to do 2 or 3 dates with you. But after a good month or 2 or 3, the real you will show up. The real insecure you will show up, and the real insecure them will show up, and it will blow up, and it will break your heart again. And you're going to be even deeper in that ditch when you could have spent those last 3 months healing your heart, authentically rising in consciousness so that the best of your brain turns on, where your thoughts become naturally, I got this. And even if they reject me, I'm still good enough. I still have my own back. I will still sit in any fire with myself because I know my worth. And that's the true confidence that only comes through doing the inner work and then dating again, because we're all still going to get rejected. Let's say if there's 10 dates, on average, maybe 2 or 3 you'll care for, and 1 over time is going to win. And you want to go deeper with that person. That means you're going to be rejected 7 times or have to reject another 7 times. So that's called on the court.
Yeah.
Right? So we can't succeed at that unless we first do our inner work.
Yes.
Then we need to get on the court while still being, in my opinion, guided by me. I have these beautiful group coaching calls every single Tuesday with people that are on the court doing the inner work and showing up every week, being rejected, going on another date. Oh my God, it's been 3 months. We had the talk about kids.
So you're like a personal trainer for them. You just
totally. I'm their cheerleader. I'm their deep, like hardcore, quantum psychology, spiritual technology processor of energy. I'm their big sister. I'm that tender, safe, unconditionally loving place. And I'm that badass. Like, okay, so it's been 3 months. Get your ass out there. I know, but now it's time to practice. And then of course we celebrate. We celebrate the people that have found their soulmate, and we celebrate that they've moved in together, and we've celebrated that each of them are now igniting the best in each other. And that's only because they found that whole mate, twin flame soul, whatever you want to call it. They found that caliber. This is very, very important. You can't find that caliber of partner if you don't have that same caliber of relationship with yourself. Science, people. It's not just my woo-woo motivational bullshit. Okay? It's science. If you can come to terms with, come home to not just the part of you that you think is so amazing, that's easy. But can you unconditionally love the part of you that's insecure? Can you unconditionally love? That means love without condition, which means you can stay insecure forever and I'll still love you. You can be afraid forever and I'll still love you. You can be ashamed forever and I'll love you. If you can get, and this is what I teach, to this place of what I call allowance. Nobody's going to like the part of themselves that's ashamed or scared. But we got to stop pushing that part away, criticizing that self, abandoning that part of ourself, rejecting ourself. And when you can come into allowance, which means my heart is open to you, I love you unconditionally. I prefer we grow. I prefer we are in a better mood. I do prefer that. And yet right here, right now, let's just exhale together. Let's just be together and let me get you and see you and understand you. Everything we've been seeking out there, we must give sincerely, wholeheartedly to ourselves. And that's called the healing. That's called the integration, so that you feel at rest on the inside. That vibration allows you to be in relationship with another, and they have a bad day or they do something that pisses you off, and you don't instantly react, I'm out of here, or judge, or silent treatment. You don't do that. you know, toddler BS. You have that beat, you have that pause, you take a breath, you keep your heart open, you have compassion, and you can speak up with truth. Why?
Mhm.
Because you practice doing that with yourself in my training. It's so, it's not the fun quick fix pill that the ego wants,
Yes.
but it
And I
creates
wasn't expecting to hear that today, to be honest. So
good because it doesn't work. I've tried it. I've tried it. 2
yeah,
divorces.
me too. Me too. I've been there.
Yeah.
Alana, that was amazing. I'm sure that a lot of daters will appreciate what your knowledge that you've shared with us. So
Mm.
where can people learn more about this group coaching program and all the other great stuff that you offer?
Oh, thank you so much, Celine. Yes. So my name is Allana Pratt. So ALLANAPRATT.com. That's my site. It has all the different programs on it there. It also has an intimacy blind spot assessment. Like we all think they're the problem. There's no good men, or women are all after my money, or whatever. Like we think that's the issue, but really there's something underneath going on. And that's the deep work that I do. So that's totally complimentary. I would encourage everyone to take that quiz. It's right on the, right there. And then my training is called Heartmates. And so have a look for that on my site as well. And I would love to invite you into our program. We are a badass, honest, vulnerable, global group of amazing people. And we have a lot of fun and we get a lot of results. So thank you. Would
Yeah.
love to welcome you.
And it'll be totally worth it because then, you'll be ready to get out there and find the love that you're looking for
And keep it. Yeah.
and keep it exactly.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Alana. We truly appreciate you being here with us at Say Allo. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. All my love to you and thank you as well.
For more dating and relationship advice, please visit us at justsayallo.com. Thanks, everybody.